Hi you guys. This week I really want to talk about consistency in editing. If you read the post, you will know that I also believe in consistency while shooting if possible. But I actually wanted to challenge myself while I explain this to you guys by using photos that my husband actually took for the last shoot we did together for this elopement. He officiated and was my second shooter. So these are photos he took with my backup camera and a different lens. So these are not normal settings, not normal gear that I would use, and so I just thought it'd be kind of a fun challenge to try to edit these still remaining consistently, because if the photos turn out well, while I'm not relying on them for their gallery, if they turn out nicely, I can still deliver these to the clients, and they can have them. But the important key in the end would be that they remain consistently edited. So I've shared quite a few of these on my social media accounts already. So if you're familiar with that, you will see those, and then I'll also share more in the post. But some of once you get used to your editing software, some of the things that you particularly like in your images, you will start to see yourself gravitating toward consistently. Like here, I always keep a good straight horizon. In this particular photo, it's kind of challenging because there is no actual horizon to really go on, and the trees are not straight, but the couple are more or less vertical, and so I'm going to go based on them and what I feel looks right. I do manually adjust this 9.5 times out of 10, but you can also scroll down to the transform option and hit auto, and it will often do a good job, not always. And here auto picked up on the fact that the couple and the vertical elements here to straighten it out. However, her dress is cut off, and if I can avoid that, I will. So, here, I'm going to actually turn off transform, and I'm pretty good at eyeing this, so this is something I would just do every time anyway. Their dog right there is in the corner, so I'm going to just take out her little frame there. And then a few other things, I'll check white balance. And you want to find a lighter neutral spot, and you can see up in the top left thumbnail what the photo is going to look like, what color cast it's trying to neutralize. And the best way is if you have a white or light gray or cream colored spot, even like her skin tone, it makes the adjustment tool, I think the neutral here is already really warm, so it wants to cool it down. If you can see on the top left how it's really blue. So we're going to go down to this white here, move over just a little bit, and that's not too bad. I do like my photos warmer. It's a little more orange than I like, so I'm going to soften it with the tint a little bit, and then I'll further adjust as I go. You can also do auto tone, and that actually does a pretty nice job reducing some of the intensity of light and shadows here. Something I do not like, however, is I would not usually adjust the vibrancy and saturation on a portrait, so I'm going to take that away. And I will bump up the clarity a little bit. I always do that in all my photos. Not enough to make it unappealing, but enough to make sure that it's clear, especially when you print it. Sometimes my images can be soft because I like a good depth of field, but usually they're not out of focus. Now this one is a little bit soft, but because it's such a cute image, I would still roll with this one. And also my husband took the photo, so we'll give him a little break here. I also go down here to tone curve. I always adjust this. I love this pop here. This particular photo is a tough choice because the highlights are already so bright. So this will be very, very small because you have to be pretty careful about not blowing out more than you have to, and that's something that it's very important to my personal style. I don't like anything being overexposed in a truly unnatural way, and her dress in direct sunlight would completely ruin the frame by standing out the most, and we don't want to take away from the couple. I can also go back up here to the basic editing panel and drop highlights a little bit more, and I actually like a little bit. So we'll go back down here. You can adjust more colors. I don't think I'm going to mess with anything here right now, But we can, here in split toning, we can take these highlights and kind of get them a little bit more in the blue to pink tone over here and give it a tiny bit of saturation. And then the shadows, we're going to keep that more toward yellow and green for balance. And you can adjust it from there. You can see it's a little more pink, a lot more yellow-green. And kind of want to find a middle ground there. This is really personal preference, so whatever looks right to you. My eyes tend to gloss over after a while with color, so you be careful with trying to be consistent there. It's really easy to start getting those tones really confused, or if your eyes are more adjusted to brighter light at the moment, or if you've been editing a lot of photos that are have a warmer cast. Just something to think about. We'll go down here, lens corrections. I always remove chromatic aberration to fix any flaw in where light meets an edge here, so like in her dress or on him. And then I'll enable profile corrections to get rid of the lens distortion and vignette. I do like a vignette effect, which I would do very, very softly, because if you see in this photo, like in most photos, if there's light, there's a direction from where the light is coming from. In this case, it's obviously coming from the left of the frame. So if I wanted, I will do a tiny vignette just to hone in the focal point. And then I'll go up to this gradation filter, and I will have the exposure effect on. And there will be a natural darkness on the opposite side of where the light is coming from. So you can press O on your keyboard and see where the adjustment's being made. And I'll also drop down the dehaze a little bit, just to give it a soft touch. And that's even, it's pretty minimal here. You can see I wouldn't do this more drastically so it doesn't look unnatural, but you can kind of get the idea of what that would look like. This is a fun one to play with, but can also be frustrating if you mess with it too much. But you can also see now, at least I can tell from the left, there's more light, so your eyes are being pulled toward the center, and from the right, it's darker, so your eyes are going to be pulled back toward the center again, and that's really the effect that you want overall. I'm going to bring up my blacks. I would honestly not work with a photo like this normally. It's safe to say I was personally standing off to the right shooting in this frame because they would have been backlit if I could help it, but that's not always something you can control, so we're just going to keep rolling with this one. So I am decently happy with this photo. I don't love it a whole lot, but it's not bad. If I needed further color corrections, I would go here to calibration. More vignette options. I think vignette is